Welcome to your deep dive into the iPad Air 4th generation. You sent over some pretty cool sources for this one. We've got a full review, the spec list. Oh, and even a little peek into the blog where it lives.
Oh, I love that you included the blog. It gives us a sense of, the real world experience beyond just the technical stuff.
Exactly. So today we want to give you that aha feeling about this iPad Air. We'll go beyond just rattling off features.
Yeah, and with the blog, we can see how it actually performs, out in the wild.
Love that. Okay, let's start with first impressions. This iPad Air, I gotta say, the design is sleek, modern, clean lines, thin bezels, and you've got 5 color options. Silver, space gray, rose gold, in green and sky blue.
It's interesting how Apple chose that flat edge design back in 2020. It was a departure from the previous generation, and it kind of mirrored the look of the iPhones from around that time.
It's a statement piece for sure.
hmm
And speaking of looks, you mentioned in your notes that you read a lot on your tablet. This 10.9-inch Liquid Retina display, I think, is a game changer for that.
It's not just the size, though, right? I mean, the 2360 by 1640 resolution, if you're packing a lot of pixels in there. But for me, it's the True Tone technology that really stands out.
Yeah, fill me in on that.
So the screen, it adjusts the color temperature based on the ambient light. So whether you're outside on a sunny day or curled up in bed at night, the display adapts. Makes for really comfortable viewing.
So no more eye strain during those late night reading sessions. That's awesome.
Right.
Speaking of working behind the scenes, let's talk about the A14 Bionic chip, the brain of this iPad Air.
This chip, it was a beast when it came out, and it still holds up. Keep in mind, this was the same chip in the iPhone 12 lineup. So Apple, they weren't messing around.
So for everyday use, will I notice a difference?
You will. Remember those photo editing apps you mentioned? This chip can handle those no problem. It's all thanks to that 5 nm architecture. Imagine shrinking all the components down to like a microscopic level. You're basically packing more power, more efficiency into a tiny space.
It's like squeezing a supercomputer onto a chip the size of my fingernail. Now, I'm curious about this neural engine in the specs. What is that all about?
It's kind of like having a coprocessor dedicated to AI. It handles machine learning, image recognition, which might not sound exciting, but it makes a huge difference in how the iPad performs and learns.
Okay, starting to get the bigger picture. It's not just raw power, it's intelligent power.
Exactly. Like the neural engine, it helps improve handwriting recognition with the Apple Pencil. It learns your style, makes the whole thing feel more natural.
Super cool. Let's move on to something a bit more, tangible. Those cameras.
Okay, so the iPad Air 4th Gen, it's got a 12MP rear camera, shoots 4K video at 60 frames per second. For a tablet, that's pretty impressive. Opens up possibilities for like content creation
Right.
beyond just your casual snapshots.
And for video calls, that 7MP front camera should be more than enough. You mentioned in your blog post about wanting to start a podcast. I think this camera would be great for video recording.
Oh, for sure. The quality is definitely there. And don't forget about the audio. This iPad Air, it supports Dolby Atmos. So you get that immersive sound, whether you're on a video call or watching a movie.
Sounds tempting. So tell me about the software.
Well, this iPad Air, it originally came with iPadOS 14. That brought some really cool features to the table.
iPadOS 14. Yeah, that was a big update.
It was. Redesigned widgets, you got the app library for organizing your apps, and even better handwriting recognition with the Apple Pencil, thanks to that neural engine we were talking about.
That neural engine is really working hard.
Oh, it is. It also powers things like Scribble, so you can just handwrite text into any text field. And it's constantly learning, making your iPad more personalized.
Okay, so the practical stuff. Battery life. How long can I actually use this thing?
Apple says up to 10 hours for browsing the web or watching videos. But of course, that depends on what you're doing. If you're constantly gaming or editing video, that number might be a bit lower.
And storage options.
You got 64 GB or 256 GB. 64 GB might be okay for casual use, but if you're storing a lot of photos, videos, or big apps, I'd go with the 256 GB.
Good to know. What are the starting prices?
The Wi-Fi only model starts at $599, and the Wi-Fi plus cellular version, that's the one with the SIM card slot, starts at $729.
All right, that's a solid overview of the iPad Air itself, but you're also interested in accessories, right? We've got a whole section dedicated to those in your deep dive, ready to explore that world.
Absolutely. Let's see how those accessories can transform the iPad Air experience.
Okay, let's talk accessories. This is the fun part. All the cool gadgets that can, level up your tech experience.
Yeah, the right accessories, they can make a big difference, especially with a device as versatile as the iPad Air.
For sure. So, first up, the Apple Pencil. You mentioned being a visual learner, liking to take notes by hand. The second-gen Apple Pencil, it's like magic for this iPad Air.
Oh, I love that. And it just snaps right onto the side, charges wirelessly, always ready to go. But it's more than just a stylus, the pressure sensitivity, tilt support, it makes it feel like you're writing on real paper.
I've heard that. People say their handwriting even looks better with the Apple Pencil. You find that?
It's definitely more precise. And iPadOS, it has features like Scribble. So you can handwrite text right into any app. It's not just for note-taking anymore. You could sketch ideas, annotate documents, even create artwork.
I'm sold, but for those times you need a real keyboard, like writing a blog post or something longer.
The magic keyboard, the thing, it transforms your iPad Air, turns it into a real productivity machine, attaches magnetically, it's got a full-size keyboard, a trackpad, and it's so responsive.
I was skeptical about using a tablet for, serious work, but the Magic Keyboard, it changed my mind. The typing experience is great, and the trackpad, it makes navigating iPadOS so easy.
It really does. You could write that blog post, edit photos, work on spreadsheets, all from your couch, a coffee shop, wherever.
And for something a bit lighter, more portable, there's the Smart Keyboard Folio.
Right. The Smart Keyboard Folio, it's a good option if portability is key. It's slimmer than the Magic Keyboard, no trackpad, but still comfy to type on, and it folds up to protect your screen.
Like a keyboard and a case all in one. Okay, audio. Can't forget that. Especially since you mentioned wanting to start a podcast. AirPods seem like the obvious choice.
Definitely. The regular AirPods or the AirPods Pro, they both work great with the iPad Air. You could listen to music while you work, take calls without bothering anyone, or even use them for recording your podcast.
For podcasting, those AirPods Pro with the noise canceling, those would be awesome for recording in a noisy environment. You could even use them to, monitor your audio while you're recording, make sure it sounds good.
Good point. And even if you're not podcasting, that noise canceling, it's a lifesaver when you need to focus.
Your own personal quiet space. All right, before we wrap up the accessories, we got to mention Apple Care Plus.
Ah, yes, the peace of mind purchase. Apple Care Plus In, it's an extended warranty. Covers accidents, drops, spills, and gives you access to tech support. Definitely worth it if you're accident prone.
It's like insurance for your tech. You never know when you'll need it.
Exactly. And accidents happen, especially with a device you use all the time, like an iPad.
So we've covered the iPad Air itself and all these cool accessories. What stands out to you the most?
I think it's amazing how Apple's created a device that can be like so many things to different people.
I know what you mean. It's a note-taking machine, a creative canvas, a productivity tool, even a portable entertainment system.
And the accessories, they let you customize it even further, build your own iPad Air setup.
Exactly. So now that we've seen what's possible, let's talk about the bigger picture, how technology, like the iPad Air, impacts our lives.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the specs and features, but technology, it's really about empowering us, letting us do things we couldn't do before.
Let's explore that. How can the iPad Air, with its portability, its versatility, unlock new possibilities for people?
Well, for starters, think about learning.
So we were talking about learning, how the iPad Air can, open up all these new possibilities.
Right, think about it. It can be like an interactive textbook, a portable research library, even a language learning tool. And with the Apple Pencil, note-taking, it becomes so much more engaging.
You mentioned wanting to learn a new language. I bet the iPad Air would be perfect for that. All those language learning apps. And with the interactive nature of the iPad, the handwriting recognition, I think it could really help.
And it goes beyond education, right? Think about creativity. The iPad Air with that A14 chip, the beautiful display, it's a great tool for artists, designers, anyone who wants to express themselves creatively.
It's amazing how much technology has become a part of the creative process. You can use the Apple Pencil to sketch, paint, even compose music. Right on the iPad Air.
It's like having a studio in your hands. And the App Store, it's got all these incredible creative apps. You can really push the boundaries of what's possible.
And we can't forget about connecting with others. Video calls, sharing photos and videos, being part of online communities. The iPad Air makes it so easy.
You mentioned watching movies with your family. Imagine watching those on the iPad Air's display. With that Dolby Atmos sound, it'd be a whole new experience.
Yeah, like a portable home theater. But even beyond entertainment, think about things like telehealth appointments, virtual conferences, online fitness classes.
It's like a window to the world. It lets us connect with people and experiences that we might not have been able to before.
It really makes you think about how far technology has come and how it's changing, everything, the way we live, work, learn.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the main thing to remember is The iPad Air. It's more than just a gadget. It's a tool that can help you do the things you love, explore new ideas, live a more connected life.
It's been fun exploring the iPad Air with you, and especially seeing how it connects with your own interests and goals.
Yeah, it's always cool to see how people personalize technology and use it in such different ways.
So as you think about your own iPad Air setup, remember, the most important thing is how you use it, how it makes your life better.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep exploring.